Hey everybody, welcome back to Phoenix Fab. Hope you're having a great day. I am super excited about this project. Get ready for the 1948 General Electric refrigerator. I am just pumped to get this going. So I've been working on this for a year. I've done some crazy things to it. I disassembled it, got all the dents out of it, filled them, I sealed everything, and then I re-insulated it with Great Stuff foam. And it's just turned out magnificent. I cannot tell you how excited I am. So, look at that. Look at that. So, today, I'm gonna paint. I'm going to reassemble, basically show you everything that I've changed, everything that I've replaced, because this fridge had a lot of broken stuff, and I'm gonna have a new working shop fridge. Stick around, I'm gonna show you it all. We're gonna have a blast today, and this is gonna turn out wonderful. To get the fridge to the point where it is today, all I did was disassemble it and make sure to take a picture of everything. It will help you a lot when you go to reassemble it, especially when it's a year later like it is for me. And I disassembled it, took all the cardboard insulation out of the inside of it, and I used Great Stuff foam, and I just put cardboard stops so that it wouldn't come flowing out the front, and I poked holes in that and just sealed the entire interior cavity in between the inside skin and the exterior. So that's all I've done here. I took regular Bondo and took all the dents as much out as I could before I Bondoed them, and make sure to get your all the paint off because Bondo adheres to metal a lot better. And that's pretty much where we are today. So we're gonna start off with doing a filler primer on top today. After that sets up, we'll go to a 180, 220 grit sandpaper once again, get that all smooth and feathered back into the surface of the fridge, and then we're ready to sealer primer. So we'll probably retape at that point, spray sealer primer on, and then once that's about half dry, there's a flash time, we'll do our base coats, clear coat it, and I'm gonna time lapse through all of that for you. So we'll pick up when we're going to reassemble. Whenever you want to do any kind of painting, I always recommend using a pre-paint prep to remove any grease or wax. It ensures you get a better adhesion from your paint and primer. Your next step, you're going to want to tape off really well. Spend as much time as you need here because the better you do at this, the better the end result will be. This yellow tape was really good for the job. It was extremely sticky, easy to work with, and it did a great job at masking off any areas I didn't want to paint. Then I got this painter's paper from my local paint store where I got all my paint supplies, and I highly recommend it. It's a lot cleaner than a newspaper, but if newspaper is what you got, use it. The next step was to lay a couple coats of filler primer on the areas I used Bondo or still had any small imperfections. Filler primer fills the areas around the outer edges of your Bondo so that it transitions flawlessly after a good sanding. Use 2 to 3 coats. For sanding, I used a 220 grit sandpaper, and all you want to do is smooth it out to an extremely smooth surface. After the filler primer, I used a 2K urethane base primer. And once again, you're going to want to use 2 or 3 coats and allow for about 10 minutes for the primer to flash in between those coats. However, just to be safe, check your primer's tech sheet. After the primer dries, you can sand it with a 600 grit sandpaper so that your base coat goes on even smoother. For the base coat, I used Ferrari Rosa Corsa Red, and I absolutely love the color. And I used a base coat clear coat system because that's what was recommended to me, and I'm not sure if there would have been a better method, but if there was, please tell me in the comments below. For your base coat, you're going to want to allow about 15 to 20 minutes in between coats for the paint to flash, but check your paint's tech sheet. My base coat recommended you wait 30 minutes before moving straight to the clear coat. The clear coat is your final painting step that ties it all together, and for this I used a 2K clear. I did my first coat light but wet, and then on my second final 2 coats, I made sure to overlap my spray by about 50% and I applied it very wet. Don't worry too much about runs as you can fix it after it dries. Allow 10 minutes in between coats and then overnight before moving on to wet sanding. To really make sure your paint looks outstanding, I strongly recommend wet sanding. Start with maybe an 800, then 1000, 1500, 2000, and then 3000. On the right, I've included a picture of what the paint surface should look like after you're done wet sanding and right before you're ready to move on to a buffing wheel. As you can see, I still have some shiny areas. I could sand longer, but I risk going through my clear coat. And after buffing, you can see yourself in the reflection from all your hard work. Hey everyone, welcome back. So the painting, it was a lot more complicated than I thought it would be, and I had to go back and I had to do some steps over again. And in the end, I did get the perfect result I was looking for, and I'm so happy. I'm so excited to get this back together today, which brings me to my next point. Putting one of these back together is a process that probably takes 2 sets of hands. I strongly recommend it. And since my wife, she's been helping me with most of this. She helped me with all the wet sanding, she helped me with all the painting, mixing paint, getting everything ready, and helping me clean up the shop in between steps. So Nikki's gonna help me be putting it back together today, and
Hey everyone.
I'm so excited to do this. So we're gonna start by taking the paper and the tape off the front of it. We left that for you because we know how satisfying it is to see that. And we're gonna put the interior back together for the most part, other than the shelves, and then we're gonna get the front door on. So let's get to it. How about it?
Let's do it.
All right. Before we get started, when I took this apart, I was amazed to find cardboard inside of this. So I knew I had to upgrade, and from some advice, I found out about the great stuff, which I've heard of before. It's an expanding foam that once it hardens, it's permanent, and it's great. It insulates wonderfully. But I made a big mistake. I bought the Big Gap filler, and unfortunately it expanded so much that it actually bowed the sheet metal, and then when it solidified, it contracted a little bit and it pulled the sheet metal with it. So I had to make cuts in the interior of the foam so that it would stop pulling on my metal, and everything came right back to place and it was no big deal. But I've heard that the window and door foam is much better for a project like this, as it doesn't cause the same stresses on whatever you're using it around, windows and doors. So, big lesson. Hope it helps you when you go to do this for your shop.
When we got this fridge from the previous owner, we were taking apart all the interior pieces, and we noticed that there was a lot of overspray on these pieces. So I took some plastic polish out to the driveway and polished them all night, and they came out super nice. So we're gonna get these all put back in, and then we're gonna get the door put on, and let's see how this goes.
Let's see how good it looks. I'm excited, are you?
Oh, very.
Let's do it. This was the old latch, and I was heartbroken when I opened it for the first time and saw that it was broken. But the amazing thing about eBay is you can get brand new shiny things. So I'm gonna install the new latch, and it looks so good. It just looks so good. trim looks really good, but now we're to the point which I've dreaded the most. We have to move the refrigerant unit to the back side of the fridge and get it installed. Now, I have it very well propped up for storage, but whenever you're working with a unit like this, you have to keep it vertical. If you do happen to lay it on its side for any type of storage, make sure that you do stand it up for at least 24 hours before you run it again. But we're gonna very carefully move it over there and get it back installed in the back of the fridge. And I have to rewire some things, and I'm going to try to put a new power cable on it. So we'll pick up after that. So a trick I found really helpful is before I filled it with the foam, I used some flex tubing to kind of give me a guide for where the cables would go. That way, if I ever ran into future problems with wiring, I can just rerun a new wire through it and not have to worry about digging through all the foam. So I highly recommend getting something like 3/4 inch flex tubing, or maybe an inch. I actually, after doing this, I would say an inch. It would just feed the cable easier. So highly recommend doing this trick on your shop fridge. When I took this fridge apart, I found all the wiring for the fridge behind the freezer box, and the wires were in groups of 3, groups of 2, and they were soldered to these brass caps, much like a modern day twist-on caps, except they weren't reusable. So I cut them off, but before I did, I labeled them with blue painter's tape. And I want to show you. I labeled them A, B, C. That way I knew which groups go back together. So I'm gonna get going on that right now. All right, so I got everything wired up. This is the groups of 3s I was talking about. I got the twist caps on there, and then there's one more that I had to connect, and all the wires are good. I'm gonna tape everything up and clean everything up. We're gonna put some insulation behind the freezer box so that it's not seeping any hot air, and we'll be ready to move on to the door, but I'm gonna time lapse through all that for you. Well, that's the main fridge, and you know, every minute I work on this thing, I just notice the attention to detail and just how well they built this machine, and I absolutely love how well it was built.
And I can't believe that with this fridge being 72 years old, we were able to bring it back to life with just a little TLC.
Yeah.
See, Mason, we built so many memories restoring this fridge, and many more will come.
Well, with the main fridge being put back together, I say we stuff the door with some insulation and hang it and get this project done with.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. When we got this door, it was rough. It had a bunch of dents in it. The handle was pitted and a little bit rusty. So we sent the handle to get re-chromed, and I took Bondo and I redid and finished the door, got rid of all the dents with a little bit of hammering and then a little bit of Bondo. And I didn't really do a how-to video on it because I'm no expert in it. Just like the paint, just like the Bondo, this is the first time I've ever been trying stuff like this. And when I get more experience, I will do another video, but like I said, I'm no expert in this.
And you did great. I can't believe how beautiful this door came out. Super smooth. It's just really pretty.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, you know, now here's where we're at. When we got this door, it had cardboard insulation in it. We're not reusing the cardboard. I am going to stuff this door with R20 home insulation, and then we got some new gasket for it from antiqueappliance.com. Highly recommend them. I ordered stuff from them, got the stuff 2 days later, and it was exactly what I needed. So I strongly recommend them if you're going to be doing a shop fridge for your garage. Should we get going?
We should do this.
All right. so good. I cannot believe it. So it's not done yet. We've got a few more things. I found this vintage light bulb for it. It is LED, and I know LED and cold does not go well together, but we're gonna give it a shot anyways. And then we'll put the shelves in, get it in its home, and I'll show you the final product. Well, I can't wait any longer. This project turned out a lot better than I expected. When I started it, I had a lot of high expectations for it, and in my opinion, it exceeded those expectations. And I'm so happy with the way it looks. With this, it inspires me to do a lot more projects, something maybe even related to painting, something car related. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, it just showed me something I can do, and I hope it inspires you to maybe try painting in your own garage and doing something along these lines. It's scary, I know, but you know, if you make a mistake, just do it over again. I probably did that 3 to 4 times on some projects related to this fridge. It's okay. In the end, it's worth every minute of it. I cannot tell you how happy I am. So.
It's beautiful. Do you guys think he's ready to paint my 05 STI?
It does. It needs a lot of love. That 05 STI needs so much love, especially in the paint department. So, maybe. We'll see. Thank you again for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you again.
Bye.